Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS3 review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which if you've never played it before, then it's basically an action-adventure game similar to Tomb Raider, only personally I think it's better than any Tomb Raider in the history of existence and most likely ever will be. This is one of the titles that people had been badgering me to play for over a year, because I've owned it twice and had it for a year, and it was only when Uncharted 2 came out that I started to play it. I now know why, and I also now know why everyone's saying that it's worth getting a PlayStation 4, because this really is the dog's bollocks. Quite literally, to be fair, as it's naughty dog's bollocks, but it's just one of those. It's absolutely amazing and definitely recommend getting it. There are going to be spoilers in this, and for the second review, the Uncharted 2, I'm going to be doing it right after. I'm going to limit the spoilers because obviously it's a newer game and I don't want to spoil anything, but that's why I'm here, just saying if you don't want to know anything about either of the games, firstly why'd you click on the vid, but then basically switch off, because there are going to be quite a few looks at later levels and that. So anyway, at the start, you basically get a new game and that, and then after you've started a file you get all the other stuff. So options, you've got basic stuff, you can choose to have motion sensor controls on or not. You basically use them to throw grenades and that, and to keep you steady on certain platforms. You can view the game controls and stuff and choose your sensitivity. Bonuses, I'll get into them a little bit later. You've got the chapter select there obviously for going back onto previous chapters, but for now I've set up a file at the start of the game just to basically show the very start off, and I'll show off each of the different types of levels as well. So the first mission is basically like a training type section. You've got the ambush thing, it teaches you how to shoot it and like your controls and stuff like that, and it teaches you that you can shoot explosive barrels. There's something, to be fair, Gordon Bennett, no, really. So the first mission here is just basically a training mission that teaches you how to shoot and teaches you the things that you can do. There's a couple things you might notice about the shooting on the game. The weapons aren't 100% accurate, because there'll be quite a few times when I'm aiming at the head and I won't get a headshot, and to be fair there'll be a few times when the bullet goes through the head and it still doesn't class as a headshot. But the first mission, as I say, is basically the training. You're trapped on a boat and you just have to kick the crap out of all the pirates that are coming after you and just listen and watch the story on that. And to be fair, the story is something I really need to mention. I've seen films with worse stories than this, and I know that's probably a stupid thing to say because there are some bad films out there, but I've seen big blockbuster films with stories that aren't as good as this, scripts that aren't as well written as this, and voice acting that isn't as well done as this. This truly has one of the best, if not the best, stories of the next gen, well, of this generation. I absolutely loved every minute of it. I loved the voice acting, I loved the humour, I loved how the game progressed and that. It's just an absolutely fantastic experience to go through, and the fact that the gameplay is top notch as well is what makes this one hell of a game. But that was a bit of the combat, and there's also combat scenes like this, although they're very rare, where basically you just have to run and you can fire like a wild man backwards at the enemies that are chasing you, and they've done really well, the chase scenes and that, and they work really well. But here's a bit of a cutscene, although not much, to be fair.
What were those things?
I don't know. Are you okay?
Yeah. Nate?
Okay, I don't think they can get through this.
Nate?
What?
Where are we?
I'm not sure. Go!
Apologies for cutting off in the middle of what I was saying, but I wanted to show a bit of the cutscene and I thought there was one there. But as I say, there's basically combat sections like that that work really well, and the combat in the game, to be fair, just works excellently well. But as well as obviously combat, you have got the Tomb Raider style elements, because it is proper platforming type action. It's like climbing this, climbing that, leaping from gap to gap. There's some parts, there's not many of them. It's one of the things that I was quite impressed with, but there are some parts where it's totally unrealistic with the jumping. There's one where you're basically facing something that is at eye level and it's about 4.5 feet away, yet you can apparently make it just by like letting go with your hands and pushing your body off, like, well, an invisible wall type thing almost. So there's a few that are total BS, and to be fair, you've also got to pay attention because you can die. However, you don't have limited lives or continues or anything. You can just die as many times you want really, and it'll just start you back. But as I say, there are a few moments that are BS, but a lot of them are realistic-y type stuff. It's the type of thing that you'd imagine someone who was fit could actually do this stuff. But as I was saying about the live system, it's one of those, some people might be complaining now, saying, well, the game's going to be too easy. There are quite a lot of moments where you'll find yourself dying. To be fair, some of the times that you find yourself dying is not because the game's hard. However, there are some bits that are really hard, but there's a massive problem with the game, and it's the problem that pretty much seems to knack a lot of games. However, this doesn't destroy the game, but it does, well, it does hurt it a little bit, the camera. There's a lot of the times when you're doing sections like this, the camera will just go dodgy, you won't be able to see properly, it'll make it hard to run and leap and stuff like that, and it's the type of thing that it is a bit of a shame, because if it wasn't for the camera, this would probably be a 10 out of 10 game. But to go over the combat and that, there's all sorts of weapons that you can get. There's pistols, there's rifles, there's shotguns, there's machine guns, there's grenades. And one of the cool things you can do is, going into the bonuses now, you can view your treasures, medals and rewards. Now basically the treasures, there's 60 of them in the game. I didn't do that bad when my first time round. I think I got 37 on the first time round in the game, which isn't bad out of 60. But the treasures basically count towards achievements, and that, well, I say achievements, it's because the trophy system on this is done like achievements. So this is the medals here, and it's the trophy system, and each one of these has like got a point value to it. So there's things like getting all the treasures and stuff like that, and like getting loads of headshots. There's 100 headshots, and just doing things like that. And the points total up until you can use that for your rewards. So there's things like costumes here. You can, to be fair, this file doesn't have it. I will show off some of the costumes later. I've only got a couple on the file that I'll show off, but basically the points go towards being able to change your costume, so you can look like a bad guy, or you can look like just like be in the diving suit and stuff like that. You can also go onto your weapon select, and there's some weapons that you can have, so you can constantly give yourself the dragon sniper if you wanted it, or the M79 grenade launcher, stuff like that. And it's a nice little system for after you've beat the game, because I think a lot of games, to be fair, have forgotten that cheats can be fun. It's not a case of cheating to beat the game, it's a case of cheating to lengthen the game's lifespan. So I'm glad that this has got them in them. But as well as these climbing and jumping sections here, and falling and dying sections, you've also got some driving sections. Now these get slagged off quite a bit, but personally I like them, so I'm going to show one off. So this is basically one of the vehicle sections. As I say, they've been taking a lot of flack, and so much so that they even got them removed from the second game that so many people hated them. But personally, I love them. I think they're a great change of pace. The controls work really well. You can fire randomly if you want to, or you can hold down the aim button and fire, well, with more accuracy. And that's pretty much all they are. It's just a nice good change of pace, as I say. You've also got the costumes here that you might have noticed, because I did say I'd show some off. Unfortunately, I'll have to kind of go back on my word, because I've got less than I thought, and the only other one to be fair I've got is Drake in a Naughty Dog shirt. So instead I'm playing as the pirate here, which you might have noticed at the very start of the game. He's one of them there. There's not really much left to mention about the game. Graphically it looks fantastic, musically it fits really well with the theme of the game, but the music only happens during action scenes, so I can't show any of it off. There's also, at certain points in the game, it will appear the L2 button, and basically if you push that, it'll show you where you're supposed to be going and help you out. You can use the journal, and the journal will help you out as well, basically help you to solve a few of the puzzles, which you may be thinking, well, does that make the game too easy? But it's one of those, the puzzles, you wouldn't be able to solve them without looking at the journal, because it is just totally random stuff that the journal helps make sense of that. So yeah, the final thing I've got to really say is the game's length. It took me 8 hours to beat, which may not seem like the longest game, but do remember, firstly, this is now really cheap, and secondly, in this gen, it's actually quite long, because the average length of games this gen seems to be 6 hours. Plus, there's all sorts of reasons to replay the game. Firstly, getting the treasures and the trophies, and then obviously because getting the trophies, that unlocks more cheats, and then you can play it through with the cheats and have more fun with that, and just stuff like that. So you're probably going to replay it a couple times. So if you've never played the game before, definitely go out and get it, because it's fantastic, and the second one's even better, so it's well worth looking into this one purely to play the second one. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.